The most feared weapon of World War II was not the Tiger tank, not the MG-42, and not the V-2 rocket. It was a buried steel cylinder that cost 5 Reichsmarks to produce and is still killing people in North Africa today. 25 mines, starting now. First, we have the S-Mine 35. When triggered by pressure or tripwire, a propelling charge launched its inner body roughly 1 meter into the air before it detonated. It scattered approximately 300 to 350 steel balls and fragments around the victim. The Allies called it the Bouncing Betty, but German engineers had already given it a perfectly adequate name: Terror. Next, we have the S-Mine 44, a revised bounding mine using a push-pull fuse and a more controlled airburst system. It carried approximately half a pound of trinitrotoluene and could be activated by about 21 pounds of downward pressure or 14 pounds of tripwire tension. It normally burst at roughly 1 meter, placing its fragments around the legs, abdomen, and torso. German forces mixed it with anti-tank mines, specifically to punish the engineers attempting to clear them. Let us continue with the Tellermine 35. Its circular steel body used a central pressure fuse and included 2 additional fuse wells for anti-lifting devices. It held approximately 11 pounds of explosive and required around 200 to 400 pounds of pressure. A tank did not need to be completely destroyed. One broken track in a covered minefield was usually inconvenient enough. Moving on to the Tellermine 42, Germany simplified the earlier design while increasing the explosive filling to approximately 12 pounds. Its pressure plate activated the central fuse under roughly 250 to 400 pounds of force. It was commonly buried in roads, approaches, and conventional anti-tank minefields. The manufacturing became simpler. The experience of driving over one did not. After that comes the Tellermine 43. A broad mushroom-shaped pressure plate sat above its central fuse, while 2 secondary wells allowed anti-handling devices to be added. It contained approximately 12 pounds of trinitrotoluene and required around 570 pounds of pressure. Its high activation force concentrated the effect on vehicles while making routine mine clearance considerably less routine. Now we have the Mine 43, an 80-centimeter steel bar mine whose entire lid acted as a pressure surface. Pressure sheared retaining wires and released one or both pull fuses inside the mine. Its charge weighed approximately 8.8 pounds, while activation required about 400 pounds near the ends or 800 pounds near the center. Because one long mine covered more road width than a circular mine, fewer were needed to block a junction or narrow route. Following it is the Holzmine 42, a wooden anti-tank box whose lid rested on wooden shear blocks. When sufficient weight crushed the supports, the lid forced the fuse into action. It carried an 11.5-pound main charge with an additional 1.5-pound booster and could activate under approximately 200 pounds. Wood was cheaper than steel and harder for early detectors to locate. Mercy was apparently not part of the material saving program. Then there is the Topfmine 4531, built largely from compressed bituminous cardboard, wood, glass, and other non-metallic materials. Roughly 330 pounds of pressure crushed its glass chemical fuse and detonated about 12.5 pounds of amatol. Standard Allied metal detectors often failed to locate it, while even more advanced equipment worked only under favorable conditions. Germany had effectively built an anti-tank mine that hid from the machine specifically designed to find it.
From there, we reached the schu-mine 42. Its hinged plywood or compressed cardboard lid pressed against the retaining pin of a pull fuse, releasing the striker. The mine contained about 7 ounces of explosive and required only 6 to 11 pounds of pressure. It was cheap, dependable, easily hidden beneath leaves, and became one of the most widely copied mine designs of the war. Next comes the Glasmine 43, constructed almost entirely from glass. A glass pressure plate broke or displaced a shear plate, activating either a chemical fuse or a mechanical lever fuse above a 200-gram explosive charge. Waterproofed examples could be placed near river crossings, beaches, and shallow water. Glass reduced the metal signature and produced a mine that was unpleasant to locate before detonation and no more pleasant afterward. Let us move to the Stock Mine 43. It used a weak concrete body packed with embedded fragments and mounted on a wooden stake with a tripwire fuse. Approximately 4 ounces of explosive produced an estimated casualty radius of 9 meters, with fragments considered dangerous much farther away. German troops placed them along tracks, ravines, defiles, and in staggered belts where infantry movement was predictable. Continuing with the Panzerstabmine 43, this was not a conventional blast mine, but a shaped charge weapon mounted on a wooden stake. A sideways force of roughly 10 to 25 pounds against its extension rod activated a zinc-lined hollow charge. It was positioned in snow, brush, or tall grass along expected armored approaches. Instead of attacking the tracks, it aimed at the thinner underside of the vehicle, which was a considerably more personal engineering decision. Moving east, we have the Soviet PMD-6. Its simple wooden lid pressed against the retaining pin of an MUV pull fuse, releasing the striker. The box held approximately 7 ounces of trinitrotoluene and could activate under as little as 2 pounds of pressure. It resembled discarded packing material because sophisticated industrial styling was not required to remove a foot. Next, we have the POMZ-2, one of the most common Soviet fragmentation mines of World War II. Its grooved cast iron body was mounted on a stake and connected to a tripwire-operated pull fuse. It contained approximately 2.7 ounces of trinitrotoluene and was frequently laid in groups of 4. The mine was especially useful in vegetation, woodland, and mixed anti-tank fields where infantry had to move around larger obstacles. Let us continue with the TM-35, an early Soviet steel anti-tank mine. Pressure on its top plate transferred force through an internal bolt to an MUV fuse. It contained approximately 6.2 pounds of explosive and normally required around 500 pounds to function. Its conventional appearance concealed a practical battlefield purpose: immobilize the lead vehicle and trap everything behind it. Moving on to the TMD-40, a Soviet wooden bar mine fitted with 1 pull fuse at each end. Pressure on the lid forced one of the fuse pins free and initiated approximately 7.1 pounds of trinitrotoluene. About 550 pounds of pressure were required, and Soviet instructions placed them in rows with roughly 7 meters between individual mines. Its long body increased the chance that a wheel or track would find it before the crew found the minefield.
Next comes the British Hawkins Mine, a flat steel weapon containing 2 chemical pressure fuses beneath a ridged plate. Between 80 and 100 pounds of pressure crushed a chemical ampule and ignited approximately 1.5 pounds of explosive. 1 mine could seriously injure a soldier, 2 could disable a truck or break a light tank's track, and 4 could threaten a medium tank's track. British modular thinking was always efficient, even when the modules were buried explosives. After that, we have the British Shrapnel Mine Mk II. A 4-pound pull on its tripwire fired a blank cartridge, launching a steel projectile before a second fuse detonated it approximately 3 feet above the ground. The 10-pound mine carried 1 pound of explosive and had an effective casualty radius of roughly 10 to 15 yards. It was placed in anti-tank fields specifically to attack reconnaissance teams, and the engineers sent forward to open a path. Now we have the British General Service Mark V. Its cross-shaped pressure spider crushed the fuse cover and sheared a retaining pin, releasing the striker. The mine weighed approximately 8 3/4 pounds, carried 4.5 pounds of explosive, and normally required between 350 and 450 pounds of pressure. British manuals warned that a running man striking the spider's outer edge could still trigger it, because even anti-tank mines occasionally ignored job descriptions. Moving on to the American M2, another bounding anti-personnel mine. A black powder charge launched a modified 60mm mortar shell body between 2 and 3 meters before a delay fuse detonated it. The M2A3 weighed just over 5 pounds, carried approximately 1/3 of a pound of trinitrotoluene, and had a reported lethal radius of about 10 meters. Approximately 4,161,000 were produced between January 1943 and September 1944. Next, we have the American M3, a rectangular cast iron fragmentation mine with positions for as many as 3 separate fuses. It could be triggered by pressure, tripwire pull, or deliberate command initiation, depending on how it was installed. The body held 408 grams of trinitrotoluene and was manufactured from 1942 through 1944. Unlike the bounding M2, the M3 remained on the ground and relied on its heavy iron casing to distribute the argument. Let us continue with the American M1A1 anti-tank mine. Downward pressure on its distinctive cross-shaped spider broke a shear pin and snapped an internal assembly, driving the striker into the detonator. It weighed approximately 4.8 kilograms, contained 2.7 kilograms of trinitrotoluene, and activated under roughly 120 to 250 kilograms. It was a conventional design, but conventional explosives beneath a tank track rarely needed originality. Moving on to the Japanese Type 93, a thin circular anti-vehicle mine made from copper, tin, brass, or steel. Pressure on its plate sheared a wire inside the Type 93 fuse and released the cocked striker. The mine held approximately 2 pounds of picric acid, and in its standard anti-vehicle configuration required around 250 pounds of pressure. Because the charge was relatively light, Japanese forces often laid the mines in pairs or placed additional explosive beneath them.
Next comes the Japanese Type 3 ceramic mine, built around a terracotta body with a rubber bag containing the explosive. Its Bakelite pressure pull fuse could function under roughly 20 to 25 pounds of downward pressure, or around 22 pounds of tripwire pull. Common examples carried approximately 4.5 pounds of explosive. It could be used on roads and airfields, or converted into a tripwire anti-personnel weapon, proving that even pottery could become aggressively multi-purpose. Let us move to the Italian metallic B2 anti-tank mine. Its 42-inch steel pressure cover descended against 2 springs, driving an internal cutter through a retaining wire and releasing the striker. The complete mine weighed 33 pounds, carried 2 separate 3.5-pound explosive charges, and required at least 300 pounds of pressure. Its long bar shape allowed a small number of mines to cover roadblocks and junctions more effectively than compact circular designs. Finally, we have the Italian B4 anti-personnel mine. 2 concentric steel cylinders held the explosive in the center and loose metal fragments around it, while 6 spikes allowed the body to be fixed against a tree or post. It weighed approximately 3 pounds, but contained only 1/4 pound of explosive, relying primarily on fragmentation and tripwire activation. Italian engineers apparently decided that burying the mine was optional when a perfectly good tree was available. These mines were feared for completely different reasons.
Some shattered tracks, some attacked the men clearing the tracks, and others were deliberately built to hide from the available detectors. Their most dangerous feature was not always explosive power, but the uncertainty they created around every road, field, doorway, and patch of disturbed earth. Long after the armies moved forward, many of the mines remained exactly where they had been left.